Hey, today on Rich's Mowers and Blowers, we are going to look at a leaf blower. This particular one happens to be a Poulan Pro. That's French. It's a 200 mile per hour blower. And this is the PPV 2000LE. So they make several different ones like this under different names. They all look the same, just a different name. Here's a couple that I have here. These are some parts that we can pull off if needed. So these are Craftsman. Some of them say 200 mile per hour, some of them say 205, I've noticed. So what we are going to do is this gas line inside here, if you can see down in there, it is off. The filter is off the hose, and there's just gas all over it. We're just going to put new lines on it. You can see how dark the lines are once we take the case off. So we are going to unscrew everything. There's like, I don't know, 10,000 screws on this thing. So we want to take off these two. That'll pull that cover off. Alright, so once you pull that cover off, then you'll find two more screws, and they are Torx T25. So far they've all been the same. That's good. So let's get those two screws off. This will come off and actually pull the carburetor off. So once we have those loosened up, then this whole thing will come off, and you have some gas lines there. So your carburetor is underneath there. And you can pop this cover right off, push this down. Well, pull these out first so it's not connected to the plastic. There you go. Push that kind of down, and there's your cover off, and here's your little carburetor. So we can remove those gas lines. And then next we are going to remove these two screws right there. That'll take that off. Alright, then just remove that out of there. See if this will come out right now, or we have to take that case off. So there is that. Put that over here with these. Keep your bolts together, you know which ones go where. Now we are going to flip it over and begin to take the whole case apart. So there's 1, 2, 3. There's one on the back here that holds that on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I believe there's about 10, 11. So about 11 screws you got to take off. There we go. Got all those out, and we took these two out. Now they are a different size, so keep those together with this top cover. So I'm going to go ahead and put these smaller ones right inside here so we know they go with that. Set that over here on the side. Now there is a hidden screw right there, so we got to get that one out once you take that cover off. Alright, the hidden screw's out. I guess we can undo our spark plug if we can get it. Pull that off. Alright, now we have to take the muffler off. So the muffler is off, and there is a little shield behind it. So just remember where that goes. Right there. And I'm just going to keep those right inside, right together. Put it right on the side over here. And there is this little piece right here that comes off. If I can get it off with my finger. So that will come off. That goes with the muffler. And while we're in here, we can look and see if we can see any scoring on the piston. And it looks good. So you just want to pull this a little bit, and that'll move your piston back and forth. I don't see any scoring. So now we can start taking it apart, taking the plastic off. Oh, we got to get this one last one that holds this on right here. So unscrew that, and then your blower tube will come off. Alright, that's off. Now we can start pulling it apart. Let's see if I got all the screws. Nope, there's one more hidden one up in here. So we got to get that out. So there's two hidden ones, one right there and one right there. Alright, let's crack this nut open, see what's inside. So did I get all the screws? I believe so. Feels like it's being held. Oh, you got to take this off. This comes off. Take a little screwdriver, put in there. Just like that. There we go. So now you should be able to pull this apart. And it is going to be quite dirty in here, so if you want to save your hands a little bit, got the handle coming off. There we go. It was stuck on there a little bit, but it'll come off. So no need to like manhandle it too much. Take the gas cap off because that is in the way. You could probably use a screwdriver if you wanted to help pry a little bit. But you don't need to like break the plastic so hard. No need for that. Just keep wiggling it and jiggling it. Might have some little tape or foam in here if it's ever been opened the first time. So it is splitting open. Let's go ahead and see if we can get that handle all the way off. The motor will actually come right out. See, it's stuck in there because it's never been taken out before. Alright, so we got this cracked open. Now there is some little spacers, I guess you want to call it, that go in there, so if they fall off, if they're loose enough where they fall off, that's what that is. You'll be like, where'd that go? So something seems to be holding it in the back here. Let's investigate that. Well, I found this problem. So there's one screw I didn't take out right here on this handle. So let's take that out. There we go. Look at that. That's amazing. One little screw held that together, and it just fell apart. So we've just disassembled this whole thing. And here's your little blower motor. There we go. That is what it looks like. So if you need to access the piston, you can take the head off. They have nice little holes right there. You can get to the screws. You would take this top off, and then you can get the piston out, put a new ring on it, then put it back in, or put a new piston in it. Depends on what's wrong with it. What we'll be doing is putting some gas lines on here. So you can go ahead and pull these right out, and they have two different sizes. So, and then if you can see down in there, probably see, you can hear it shaking. It fell off or dry rotted, whatever they do when they do that. We got that out. There's the filter. This broke off, so these are all junk, but that one just broke off somehow. There we go, and then the ones inside. Let's get that all cleaned up, and then we might as well spray all this off and clean up all this oil and stuff. So let's do that. Alright, so I saved you guys the pain of watching me put this big fat tube in that little hole, and this skinny fat tube in that little smaller hole. So what I did was, see if I can pull one of these out. There we go. So you take and cut this on an angle like that, and then start feeding it through that hole. And it does take a little patience and time. I use some little WD-40, help slide it in there. And then once it's in there, take a pair of pliers that are bent so that you can reach around that corner right there, and then you can grab it and help pull it through. And always keep WD-40 on it so it keeps sliding right through. And that's what we did. So now we gotta kind of straighten this end up, so we're gonna cut that off flat. Like that. And the other one also, we're gonna cut off flat. We're going to put our filter on there. Filter goes on the big one. The little one is the return. So that's going on there like that, down in there. And make sure you have enough where it can reach the bottom of the tank. So this is how the tank is going on, like this. So make sure there is enough line that goes all the way to the bottom of the tank. You don't want the line up here, because you're only going to use half of your gas. So make sure it does reach the bottom of the tank. Alright. Then on your little one, it goes, this little piece goes on there. So cut it off flat and then put that on there. And poke it down in there. Alright, then your gas line, this goes, the gas line, I'm not going to cut it off yet. Gas line goes right through this hole here. Your carburetor goes on there. I believe it's the carburetor. So these two go here to hook up to the carburetor. Just like that. Alright, so now we can probably put our gas tank in. And if you find a couple of these little things like this, and they just fall off and you're like, where does it go? They go on to help hold your gas tank in. So here's your gas tank. This will go on like that. On this right here. There's one right here. And there's one right here. And there's two on the other side. So your gas tank is going in like this. Just pull the slack through. And we don't want those twisted up like that. So untwist those as you're doing it. There we go. Alright. So again, this and this will fit onto those two black things. And your gas tank will be in just like that. And you can go ahead and put your cap on. It'll help hold it in there. So there's that. Now, if this little thing falls off, this goes on right here. It's like a half circle, I guess, what you want to call it. Goes right there. We can go ahead and probably, let's put our handle on. Let's try that. So the wider part of the handle goes in the back. And you can see there's like these little grooves right here that'll slide in there, and it goes on there. So see if we got that in there in the shot. There we go. Your handle can go on. So we got our gas tank, and those other two black things on the other side here, those will go on your gas tank on the other side. So here is our little motor, and again, if these things fall off, which they have before, these go on there, which in return your motor is going to set in here, and that's going to set in there like that. So if they fall off or they get stuck in there, that's how that works. And then your spark plug obviously is going forward, so we can set one of these inside there like that. I hope that was on camera. Set that inside there. Alright, spark plug, make sure it's all nice and snug in there. And then this is going to be pulled out. So you're going to pull this out a little bit. This will actually go underneath, and this will clip in right here. Not really clip in, it just is going to set there. So any little bump, it will fall back off just like that. So pull it out and make sure your string is underneath this. just like that. Alright, your cord is going right there, out that little hole, and then this is a grommet that'll go there, like that. So it might take you a couple tries to get this going. Now on this side here, you're going to have some foam that was actually stuck to the engine here. So you can either remove that foam, I guess, or just kind of put it back in here as best you can. If you want to try to glue it on, I guess you could do that. So we're going to line this up, this hole up with that rubber piece. Alright, we're going to smash it all back together. Make sure this grommet is in there, seated good. Make sure that this metal one is seated good. Squeeze that together. And then we can start putting some screws in it to help hold it together. Alright, so we got a couple screws. I put a couple in the handles, one back here by the pull string. And remember, there's two hidden screws you have to put in. So these two right here need to go in. And if you're using a drill like I am, make sure you put it on a low setting, because you don't want to strip these out. So you hear that? That's not going any tighter. And I lost my bit. There we go. So let's put in the other hidden screw. There we go. So I'm going to finish putting all the screws in. And then before you tighten up too many screws, you want to leave this loose so you can pop that in there and snap that on there. So then go ahead and tighten up your screw right there. Alright, we got most of the screws in. I got 3 more right there that need to go in. But all these are looking good. The 2 hidden ones are important because we're going to put the muffler on. So this, remember, the shield goes on there. And remember this little thing that goes on there. So if this falls out and you don't know where it goes in there just like that. Then the shield goes on. And then your muffler goes on, and it is going to be Torx 30. So you have to change your bit out. Alright, got our muffler in there. Got our shield in there, and that little piece is in there. We can go ahead and put this on there. So this goes in the top, and then there's 2 of the little short screws. So if you remember when you took it apart, there's some longer ones and some shorter ones. So the 2 shorter ones go in here. These 3 long ones go right up there. And then this is gonna go in there like that. Then we're gonna switch back to the T25. There we go. That's all back together. Alright, now we're on to dealing with this mess. No, it's not a mess, but we're not exactly sure how long we want to cut them yet. So we are going to be putting back on this carburetor stuff. Alright, so next up is this thing. I'm not even exactly sure what this is called. Of course, it goes in like that, and then there's a couple screws that'll hold it into place. Alright, now we got that into place. Good and snug. Next on the list is the carburetor and this shield. So it all kind of has to go on at one time like that, because the big bolts hold that on and the carburetor on at the same time. Now, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take that back off, because we have to measure out our gas lines. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on there without that plastic piece, and then we will cut our gas lines to the right size. So the big gas line goes on the top, the little one goes on the bottom. So let's just kind of measure those up a little bit. I'm going to leave a little bit of slack in it, just so I have room to grow when I take the carb off and stuff. But that's how it's going to look, like that. Remember, measure once, cut twice. Nope. I mean, measure twice, cut once. So there's that, back to normal. Look at that, pretty gas lines. So remember, we have to take this back out and put it through the plastic now. So just like that, that's going to go on there, and hopefully it lines up. That one did. Yahoo! And then you put on these two screws to put on your final cover. There we go. Now next is the tube for the air. And I'm not sure why they have this on there, besides being loose or it's leaking some air. So let me mount that on there. I'm going to take the tape off and we will see how loose it is. So the tube went in just fine. I took the tape off. There is a little notch right there where the tube fits down inside there. So we will put some gas in it and we'll crank it over, see how the new gas lines are. So let's start this up with the new gas lines all cleaned up, looking nice and pretty. So you got your stop, run, fast, and primer. Let's pull this bad boy over. Woohoo! There we go. It's ready to rock and roll. Hey guys, thanks for watching Rich's Mowers and Blowers. Psh. Hey, if you guys enjoyed this video on the Poulan Pro, that's French, breakdown, hey, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, and get notified every time I put out a new video like this. Hey, hope this helped you, and see you next time.